Everybody, good morning. Welcome to today's webinar on 3D dashboard OOTB capabilities. So this is the first session out of the two sessions. So this will focus on the OOTB capabilities of the 3D dashboards. Quite interesting topic. Myself, Avinash, I'm leading the Dassault practice at SteepGraph. In the panel, we have Mr. Himanshu Zalavadiya, CEO of SteepGraph, who will be presenting the main content of today's session. In terms of the agenda, let us go to the next slide. Just hold on. In terms of agenda, we'll start with the introduction to SteepGraph. Some of the participants might have not worked with us, so we'll give a quick introduction of SteepGraph. We'll talk about the 3D dashboard. What is 3D dashboard? What is the functional architecture? What is the technical architecture? The technology stack behind the 3D dashboard. So we'll talk about that. Then we'll dive into the OOTB widgets. We'll take few examples of the widgets which are quite interesting and which are OOTB. So we'll look at this, and we'll also touch base on why Dassault system thinks 3D dashboard is the future. Okay, so these are the key points we'll take in the session. So let's start with the SteepGraph overview. SteepGraph, we are founded in year 2008. We are a Dassault services provider partner. Our vision is to see the customer success with 3D experience platform, and in every project that we deliver, in every individual who works on the project, this is ensured. This is the mindset. Okay, so that's how we deliver the things. We are considered as the partner who is having a lot of experience and expertise on the 3D experience platform. We are known in the market for our agility and quality. We have been developing quite a lot of tools to help the customers to have the better, faster quality implementation and the deployments of the 3D experience. In terms of the community experience, it's more than 450 plus man years on the PLM delivery. Quite quick stats. The team size is 90 plus consultants. We have delivered more than 200 projects for more than 100 plus customers, and we have been supporting, working on in various countries, more than 14 countries. In terms of geographies, we have been delivering the projects in US and North America, in the Europe, Nordic region, in India, APAC region. Okay, so that's quick introduction. This slide talks about various projects we have been contributed to in transportation and mobility, Faurecia, Alstom Transport, Eaton, PSA, BMW, Jaguar Land Rover, Tesla, and so on. In aerospace defense, notably Bell Helicopter, Rockwell Collins, Boeing, Australian Aerospace, and so on. In industrial equipment segment, it is a Class, Regal, Atlas Copco, Tyson Group, FL Smith, Bobst, and so on. In CPG, it's P&G, 3M, Blum, Fossil, and so on. In energy sector, Kane Energy, Iberdrola, Reliance Power, and so on. In high tech, notably Ericsson, we have been doing quite a lot of work for Ericsson. Then Lam Research, KLA Tencor, Amtech, and so on. In terms of our expertise, the services that we offer include the business consulting, the business process consulting, the configuration and customization of the platform, upgrades from various legacy versions to latest release of 3D experience, migrations from various legacy systems into the latest 3D experience platform, integration of 3D experience with various enterprise systems, infrastructure consulting, L1, L2, L3 support, and 3D dashboard widgets development. In terms of various tools, SteepGraph Toolkit, STK. In this, we have various tools. To start with, it's a migration framework. So the framework helps to migrate from various legal systems, including SolidWorks EPDM, Smart Team, Innovia eMatrix, Autodesk Vault, and so on, into 3D experience. Then 3DX Test Automation Suite, it helps to automate the test cases on 3DEXPERIENCE platform and have it executed as a regression testing for there onwards. Innova Implementation Accelerator to help quickly develop the user interface and functionality, not only on the UI3 but also on the dashboards widgets. So that's EIA. The data loader, it helps to load the data from various sources into 3DEXPERIENCE. The trigger performance profiler to identify the bottlenecks in the JPUs and so on. Scenario tracker, workflow toolkit, it's also an interesting tool to help map the business process. Track PLM, FCS reconciliation, and code review suite. So these are various toolkits SteepGraph has. In terms of the brands, we have been delivering the projects and have the expertise on various brands, including Innovia, Delmia, Exalead, and Katia. In terms of growth plan, today we are 90 plus consultants. We continue to look forward for the talent, and we are looking for the on-site experts who can represent the organization, who can face the customer, and having the expertise on Innovia, Delmia, Exalead, Katia, CA, EKL, and so on. Okay, so that's a quick introduction on SteepGraph. Okay, so now I will hand over to Mr. Himanshu Zalavadiya, CEO of SteepGraph, and to dive into the main content of today's session.
Thank you, Avinash. Thank you for introduction of SteepGraph, and thank you for introducing myself. I'm Himanshu Zalavadiya, and today I'm going to be your presenter for 3D Dashboard. I have my colleague as well with me, Mr. Vasant Pariyar, who is supporting on demonstrating the 3D Dashboard. So as we started, our today's focus is to demonstrate the out-of-the-box capabilities of the 3D dashboards and widgets, and to understand what is coming with the 3DEXPERIENCE platform and how to leverage and take the benefit of this 3D dashboards, widgets, and existing applications by the customers. So let's understand what is 3D dashboard. So here the 3D dashboard brings information from diverse source into one customizable web page. So that means the 3D dashboard can connect to 3D space. It can connect to the different sources, whether it could be external sources or so on. But it can put the things into the one place in the web page. 3D dashboard can be shared with any 3DX platform member. So you can create a dashboard and you can share it with any members. So here the dashboard is more or less similar to what dashboard we see in Jira, where like you can create a dashboard, you can add the portlet or the widgets on top of that. So it is very similar. So that is where we are moving towards in terms of the 3D dashboard here. Here it is little more than that, where we have different kind of apps as well. We have the apps for the native apps as well as the web apps. So each dashboard widget is independent deployment. So no interception to OOTB code. Widget developer has full control on look and feel of the widget. Widget works on SOA, which is a service-oriented architecture. So the widgets can talk to the external host, to the web services. Thank you, Avinash, for muting yourself.
You can hear in the headphone.
Okay, all right. All right. So let me move forward. So the 3D dashboard, as a functional structure, we have the multiple things under that. Dashboard 1, dashboard 2, dashboard 3. Here, we can have the multiple dashboards, and each dashboard can have the multiple tabs. And under each tab, you have the multiple widgets. That's how the things are organized. So, for example, in this example, under the dashboard 2, I have tab 1, 2, and 3, and widget under the tab 1, I have the widget 1, widget 2. So this is how the 3D dashboard functionally organized. So this is how it will look like, in 3D experience. So where like you can see at the top, there is you can see there is a dashboard called My First Dashboard. That is the starting point. Under this dashboard, like you have the tab called 3D Experience Platform News, and under that you have several widgets. So here, like in this case, I have the 4 widgets, like in the 4 quadrants. So I can organize my widgets like horizontally, vertically in like multiple channels. So that's how it is organized. So if you look at the 3D dashboard positioning in the overall 3D experience architecture, then you can see this kind of simplified view, like how where the 3D dashboard is placed. So you can see that there are multiple products or applications on the backend or server side, including 3D Space, 3D Passport, 3D Swim, and many of them, and 3D dashboard as well. So where the 3D, in case of the 3D dashboard functioning, the front end of the 3D dashboard talks to the 3D dashboard component on the server side, and it connects to the other application through web services. So it can connect to 3D Space, it can fetch the information from the external system or whatsoever. So that's how it works. And it is a fully service-oriented architecture. So that means you can easily connect to the different applications and bring the information. Also, 3D dashboard has its own database. This database is used to store the different dashboards which user creates. So there are dashboards which are user specific. Then on each dashboard you have the multiple tabs and widgets. So now these widgets are also having their own preferences and settings. This has to be stored as well. So this database maintains all those parts. And of course, the 3D Space and 3D Passport has its own database schema. So that's how all things works here for the dashboard. So now, if you look at the 3D Experience apps type, in 3D Experience there are 3 kind of apps. So which you see typically below the compass on left hand side. So there are native apps, there are web apps, and then there are widgets. So native apps are something like Katia, Delmia, Simula, SolidWorks. These are the native apps. It is more or less like a desktop applications. When you click on those apps, it will launch the desktop application, and that's how it works. So another kind of apps are the web apps. Where you are providing a link to some external web portal, or it could be the static link to your 3D Space specific pages. But this has basically the web URL, from where it launches the web apps. It has for example, there could be Cloud View portal, you could have the intranet, 3ds.com, CRM portal. So these are web apps. And then there is a third category, which is widgets. So widgets are some examples are calculator, my notes, my task, my routes, CO maturity, KPI graphs, structure editor, markup, structure compare. So here widget has the long list of the applications apps which is provided by the out of the box here. And widgets are the one which can be placed on the 3D dashboard. And this is the one which we are going to deep dive today. How these widgets can be used and placed on the dashboards, and what are the different varieties of out of the box widgets are available. So if you have any question in between, please you can put it in the chat window or in the question and answer part of the zoom.com, and we will tackle those questions at the end of the webinar. So yeah, so let me go to the further. So here are some examples. If I look at my compass, 3D Experience compass, and if I go to the simulation apps, I could see there are multiple apps. This is some of the apps which I can see in my instance of the 3D Experience based on the number of products what I have and kind of the role what I have. I can see this one. In your case, you might be seeing a little different depending on what is your step and products and what is your user. So here, in my case, I have the most of the roles assigned as a super user, so that I can see the maximum apps here. So So some of the apps, what you can see here is that like a lot of them are the Delmi apps, in similar sense that it has the equipment allocation, manufactured item definition, manufactured context builder, and all of these are the native apps. Like this arrow, takes you to the native app. So it opens the Delmi, it goes to the specific context, then you can start working. So one of the key goal of the dashboard and the widget is that you can directly jump into the context application, context view. So this is where this apps points to. Similarly, on the modeling app side, you have a lot of apps on the CATIA side, as well as you have the viewer like 3D Play, and assembly design, and many of these. So these are the variety of apps which are available. So basically, all Dassault's native apps can be linked here onto the apps, native apps, and it can be seen further. So to know a little more about some specific icons, if you notice this, there is a little arrow here at the bottom right. So whenever you see this kind of arrow, it is a native app. Arrow indicator at bottom right corner, that means it is a native app. Now, if there is no arrow here or no arrow at the top either, there is nothing, that means it is a web application. So it will launch a new web page into the new tab or the new browser window. And then there is a third category, which is the arrow at the top here. So this shows typically the widget app. So arrow indicator on top right corner, that you can see here at the top right. For example, in this case, 3D Play here as well. So it is the top right arrow. That means it will open up into this is a widget, and it can be placed into the dashboard as well. So that's how you can identify the different kind of apps. And it is important to identify because when you are designing your dashboard, you need to know what you can drag and drop onto your dashboard. So only the widgets can be dragged and dropped onto your dashboards. You can't put the native apps and web apps onto that. So that's how you can identify. So now this is another quadrant of the compass where you have the information intelligence apps. So we have created quite a few our custom apps as well, for example, for the test automation, for estimated numbers, and like this. And then there are some out-of-the-box apps as well, like calculator, feed reader, mail, 3D search, and so on. And here, under this one, you will see a special app called 3D Dashboard. This is the starting point to launch your dashboard. We will see in the demo as well from how we start this. So then, social and collaborative apps. So this is one of the biggest element, because behind this we have the 3D space and all the products and centrals and business processes. So we have plenty of apps here. You can see here you have the 3D markup, configurator, 3D space, swim, and a lot of apps which you can see configured, BOM, convert for IGS, and there are plenty of them which is coming under this quadrant of the compass. So these are all coming from the Innovia brand. Basically, model definition, my bills, my CAPA request. There are a lot of them. So on the other side, you can see product structure editor, project Gantt chart, project management, quality documents, product finder. So these are all apps which are specific to a different roles and different purpose, and it makes user, helps user to focus on specific activities. And under each app, there are specific UI elements created to make sure that user's job role becomes easy. That's the goal of each of these apps. So let me go to the technology part. So what is the technologies which technologies are involved to develop the 3D dashboard, front end side, or if you have to go for the new widgets development, what kind of skills are required? So the skills required, typically are the standard web technologies, including HTML5, CSS3, JavaScript ES6 and above, which includes the AMD design pattern. Also, it uses the NetVibe, UWA APIs, which is the Dassault product, and of course the Ajax and JSON. JSON is used for the communication between your server-side component and your front-end component of dashboard, to again to get the data from the different sources, through the web service. JSON is also used, and the high chart is used to design a variety of the graphs. Whatever graphs you can see on the high chart, that is something what you can put onto your dashboard. So that library is inbuilt as part of the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. And then, of course, the RESTful web services, are used to fetch and build the data. And of course, apart from that, you also need to understand the overall architecture of any widget development, how it is organized, what is that framework box in which this kind of coding has to be done. So there is a templatized way of working for some kind of widgets, and you can always start from some out of the box widget, and you can create your own widgets as well. So let's look at So here, there are few examples of the widgets which we are going to discuss today, and we will demonstrate them as well. So for the simplicity purpose and for demonstrating purpose, we have categorized them into the various types here, so that we can cover the different variety of the widgets today. And our objective of showing the different variety of the widget is to showcase and to make you understand that what all things are possible with the widgets, what you can imagine of, or what you can dream of, what you can expect out of the 3D dashboard and widget. So if you know what is already existing, probably then you can map your requirements, map your business processes to use some of the out-of-the-box widget, or you can aspire to create your own widgets. So that's the goal of showing the different widgets. So we are going to cover the line bar, pie chart kind of widgets, drill down widgets, where you land on one page, you double click on something, and you can go to the more details view of that. Then category tree, like UI 3, whatever we have in the older version of Innovia, how it is replaced in the 3D dashboard. So those kind of things we'll be seeing, and some graphical view for the routes, project progress view, Gantt view, Kanban view, inter-widget navigation between the two widgets, how the communication is happening, 3D markups, requirement structure, and the company. So these are the varieties, which we are going to pick today, and we will see how it is available in 3DEXPERIENCE today. So there are ways of using the widget apps, So there are, now we are talking only about the widgets. So there are two ways. You click on the widget itself, so double click, then it opens in the temporary mode. So you have the temporary view. It is just transactional for that session, and when you close it, it doesn't save any data. So preferences are not saved. You use it for once, and you don't get the same thing, when you reopen it. So this is the nature of the widget. For example, calculator, 3D search, or some quick view of the things. Those are the things which you don't need to save the data, but it is just for temporary purpose. On another side, there are widgets which are to be drag and drop, widget app to dashboard. So in this case, now you are picking a widget and dragging and dropping onto the newly created dashboard or the existing dashboard. So now you are storing this view for a given dashboard, that where you are placing the widget, as well as what kind of settings and configurations you are putting on the widget. Those all things will be shared against the user profile into the database. So here it preserves, preferences are saved, and can be shared to the other users as well. So these are for example, you are taking some notes, you are having a matrix reader, and so on. So matrix reader is nothing but the graphs and KPIs, those kind of things, should be used as a drag and drop. So these are two ways you can do it, but there's a nature of the widgets. Not every widget can be just clicked and used. Some has to be mandatorily put onto the dashboard to use it, like that. Okay, so now let's get into the demo part. So let's see how it works onto the system. So we move to the other machine, server. Okay, so let me stop sharing on my side, and then yeah. All right, so now you should be able to see your screen of 3DEXPERIENCE platform, and from here we will start our demonstration. Okay, so let's log in into the system. All right. So on left hand side, this is the 19X, and we have logged in as a 3DX user 2. On left hand side top corner, you can see the compass. Now, when you click on the different quadrant of the compass, you will see the left hand side frame where like the first part is the 3DX marketplace. Like here are the few things like which could be available through the marketplace. And then like under the second channel, like you can see the roles and the apps. So here you can see all the roles which are assigned to this user. So in my case, like I have assigned most of the roles available so that I can see the maximum apps today. And then I can have my favorite apps. Like I can make something as a favorite, and then you have all the apps which are available as my innovator in my information intelligence apps for this quadrant, like the apps which are available for this quadrant. So then similarly, you could have the apps for VR, which is my simulation apps. You could have the apps for 3D. And here you can see all the KTI apps and 3D Play, which is the viewer, and all those kind of apps. And then we could have social and collaborative apps, which is mostly the Innovia part of it. So let's for launching the 3D dashboard, we have to go to here, which is on the information and intelligence app. Here, you can see this icon called 3D dashboard. So this is what we need to click on to launch the 3D dashboard. So here, what you can see is that I have a little menu here. When you click on that, you will see all of your dashboard which are created, if it is a pre-created, or you can create a new dashboard, like add dashboard, and you can create the new one. And if you already have a dashboard, you can rename the dashboard, you can duplicate the dashboard, and you can manage the dashboard as well, under this one. So in our case, let's start with the fresh dashboard. Let's say we create a new empty dashboard, and we give say webinar. As soon as you create a new dashboard, the tab is created. You can give some name as well. So let me give some name like KPIs, and you can add more tabs as well. So under this tab now, let me add some widget. So let me add matrix reader. Okay, so I can add, of course, a calculator as well. Now let me add say calculator. You can have calculator like this. You can have the web notes. So web notes are something if you want to take a note while you're working, you can take some quick notes, and so those kind of things are possible, when and then let me take some matrix reader here. So let me put the matrix reader here. So in the matrix reader, let me maximize this so that I can work with the focus here. So matrix reader is basically there are two possibilities. One possibility is that you can enter the URL of your web service to pull the data from a specific data source, and that data source will be presented as a graph. Or you can paste the data or drop a file from your local file. It could be some JSON file or some static files. So in for today's webinar and demo purpose, we will pick some local file. So let me go to my file, which I already have. So I have some cumulative CO data. So let me put this onto my widget. Okay, so I have put the file. So now I could say cumulative CO KPIs and chart name, say KPIs. It's simple that. So what you can see here is that now whatever data I have loaded, like it is shown here as a tabular format, and I could have additional options as well. I can put some axis name, but like no, I can put some axis name for the graph, cumulative data, and then on title, like no y-axis, I can put like no CO count, and the data unit is count, something like that. And here, then like no, I can hide this one. So now from the table, if I want to go to the line diagram, it will show the preview here. But then like if I say done, then I will see the complete picture here. Like here you can see that like there are two line diagrams. One blue line is talking about the cumulative COs which are created, and the orange line is talking about the cumulative CO which are completed. So this is a graph which is now on your dashboard, and this is how like it will look like. So now like if you want to change the graph, like you can click here on the edit button, and you can click on columns. So and then like this can be on column side. So you just say done, and now it is on the column view. So similarly, you can create the donut or the pie as well. Like for example, if it's a donut, like it will show the summary of the things as well. So there are the variety of the options. So this is some of the options what we have. So now behind this, like high chart libraries are used. So you can imagine there are a lot of graphs available in the high chart. For example, like here I have opened some high chart demos. So all of these graphs, any of these graphs which make sense for your purpose, this could be easily drawn on your dashboard. We just need to feed the data, and like we could have this kind of graphs. So we have already created this kind of graphs for our our custom widgets. So that we are going to discuss in our next webinar after the 4 weeks. About the custom apps what we have created, but we have a lot of possibilities here to use the different kind of graphs. So that's coming from the high charts library and capabilities. So now this is about how I can create the new KPIs. And then you also have some possibilities to share this dashboard. Then you can put some names here, or you can share it by the URL as well. So these are some possibilities. And you could refresh the data. You can go into the full screen mode, or you can remove them as well. So let me go back to the other dashboards. So what we have seen is that how to go to the dashboard, and that is from the information apps. We start from here basically, from here, and then we can add the new dashboards by clicking here, and then we can add additional widgets. That's how things will work. So now let us go to the other view where I can select my other existing dashboards. We can look at some of the pre-existing out of the box widgets. Let me start with the engine data, and let me close this one so that I can have the bigger view. All right, so I have these are my engine parts here. I can have the different views. I can make it smaller. I can have the tabular view as well, and then so on. So I would call this is the flat list of the table, and this table is not coming from the UI3. It is not coming from the table, from the database. In UI3 we have the table information which is in the database, and from there you can add the columns, remove the columns, and have the settings, and that's how it works in the UI3. In widgets, when you define the table, it is completely defined at the client side. So it is very specific to that widget. It doesn't go into the database itself, just for the clarity. So that also means that you have a lot of flexibility, to define your tables. You can have the color codings, you can add a lot of icons and design the way you want. You can use all the best of latest UI components, to define your widget. So now, from this widget, we can go to the next screen as well. For example, if I double click on this one, I can go into the details of it. So now I open one part, and I can go to the properties page, and I can see more details. So this kind of multi pages widgets also you can create in this case as well. So then if you want to go for the more details, you can also launch this kind of icon, and it can open the standard page of the part, and there you will have the more category trees and like more actions and so on. So like if you want to go for the exhaustive functionalities, you can go onto the UI3 as well. But otherwise, most of the time, things can be done right from here as the basic information. Similarly, like there are another kind of widgets where like we have change actions. So for example, change action is again a list of all CS, and under all the CS, we can let me open one of the CA. Yeah. So like this is very again a special kind of widget where like the complete user interface for change action has been defined right here in the widget. You have the multiple category trees like members, proposed changes, realized changes, referentials, applicability, and everything. Like for example, you can go there and like again in each context, you can have the more information. You can add additional proposed changes. So a lot of actions are also defined. So it is a fully rich UI page where like you have a lot of actionable items as well, and you can also modify your properties right from here, and you can do the demote and promote as well. So those kind of things as well you can do very well right here. So let me take you to the another one like which is very similar to the change action, but like it is for the routes. So here in terms of routes, we have route management, and like we can see, let's see one of the route here, and you can also create a new route, but like let's see, look at existing one here. Like you can edit the existing route, you can stop the route, you can cancel the route, you have the multiple pages. And one of the key things like which I want to show here is that like it has the graph as well, like where the route is, and like this graphical view is also available in the widget. So this kind of capabilities are there available in the route management, for the engine data management, the change action management, and there are a lot of similar apps. So there are more than 250 apps in MyStep, probably in total 3DEXPERIENCE platform. There could be many more than that. So it's just a matter of exploring and seeing that how it could be useful for you. So let me now go to the another dashboard, which is project management. So this is again like shows the capabilities for the project management, where like you see here there is a list of projects. You can see that like I have the multiple projects, and like what is the progress of each a project. It shows the graph. So this is again the creativity of designer of this widget, like how he wants to present the progress of a project. So that's how like it's been working. So let me, there are some more things on the project management dashboard. I have another tab, which is a project Gantt chart. Here, like I have a Gantt chart. Let me refresh it so that I can load the Gantt chart. All right. So Gantt chart is coming from the project management module, and like it has a very powerful capabilities right here. You can see the Gantt view as well as you can hide the Gantt view, and like you can have just the table view as well. You can expand it, and you can like further like extend this kind of things. You can again show your Gantt view. You can also modify some of the lines here. For example, if this timeline has to be extended, like I can extend it, and then like the rest of the things will be automatically adjusted here. So those capabilities are also here. Also, like you can have the different views, like planned, actual, and so many views, like which is also available. So basically, like you can change the view of your plan as well. For example, if I go to plan versus actual, I will have I will have the view for that kind of thing, that what was the plan, what was the actual, and so on basically. So that is also, so there are views which is available. Like if you're making some changes, you can edit as well certain things. Like if I in the plan mode, then I can edit it, and when I edit it, I can save the changes as well by clicking on this icon. So now let me expand this little bit. I can shrink the timeline. I can expand the timeline. I can see the critical path as well. Like if I click on this, I see what is the things on my critical path. Almost all the capabilities are available here for the Gantt chart. So this is one of the good example that what all things, how complex things you can create here. So it doesn't limit customer anything. Customer can plan anything, and you can define it on your widget. So there's another one which is a nice example of the Kanban reports. You must have seen Kanban charts on in Jira or some similar apps and application development. So here, this is the view of the Kanban, where you have the all due task, no due task, today task, tomorrow, and this week and future task. You can change the view to, let's say, status or say maturity. So if I click here, I have the maturity view here. I can drag and drop. I can say from ready to in work. I can move it here. Then the status are automatically changed. So this is very handy for managing your own task. Dashboard for a self task as well as for the project task and so on. And you can have another view called, say, status view, where you can have the different channels for the high level status, whether it's to do, in progress, or done, the simplistic management view. So this is the kind of dashboards what we have for the project management. Let me go to now product structure, which is again now I'm going to something which is specific to the CAD. This is also very unique in itself. So here we will be seeing the CAD structure, and then we'll on the side by side we will see the another app, which is which is going to be show the viewer for the given CAD structure. So let me search for a product for which I want to see the product structure. So I want to see the product structure for this product called VP_LBS002TC. So on left hand side, these are the two widgets, side by side, both are in sync. This is specially designed widget. So on left hand side, you can see that there is a structure, and this is the structure browser, product structure basically, and you can expand multiple level here, you can expand all levels. And on right hand side, you see the 3D view. If I click on, let's say, one of these elements, then it highlights on right hand side in the viewer basically. And at the bottom, you have a lot of different possibilities of graph view, tile view, and a lot of them. So these are the special menus and actions which are available for this widget. And you can have more details as well, on left hand side. You can also open this kind of data into the 3D markup in Product Explorer, Product Finder, and Product Structure Editor as well. So on right hand side, what you see is typically the 3D play. It is 3D play viewer, and you have all the capabilities of a viewer here. You can move, you can do the sectioning of this. For example, if I go to here, I can measure the things. I can do everything, all the capabilities of the things which are possible of a viewer. These capabilities are also there. Also you have the capabilities of sectioning. So these are the typical capabilities of viewer 3D play, which is basically integrated right here on the widgets, right? So now let me go to one of the item here. I can directly jump onto product structure editor right from here, and I can see the more details of on product structure editor as well. So here you can edit the structure as well. You can do the markups and other things as well. And we could have the 3D compare and a few other things as well. So this since taking some time to load, on the right hand side we can see that. Okay. Yeah, so I can close this one, and I can go from here in the product structure, which makes things faster for me for the demo purpose. But you can always go to this one from the context as well. So on right hand side, I have 3D markup view, which is, and then on left hand side I have the product structure view. So this is how it will look like. So from the product structure point of view, what majority changes is the bottom menu. You have a lot of different commands in the menus, which is under the edit, under the view, like you have the different things. There are a lot of tools, life cycles, collaborations, and configurations. So these are the things, this kind of menu bar which you can add at bottom of your widget. And right inside again, like we have some viewer. So I have plenty of other things, like maybe the last one I can show is on the requirement structure. So on the requirement structure, we have we have the requirement tree on left hand side, and then on right hand side we can have content of a requirement. Like for example, here we have, this is coming from the requirement management solution or the product, where we have the comments and we could have the chapters and all the details or the tree here. And against this, we can have the content on right inside widget, and somebody can modify right here in the in context. So the things can be easily navigated on from left to right as well. So this kind of capabilities can be incorporated into your widgets. So this gives the glimpse of different widgets which are available in the out of the box. So today, whatever we have shown to you, it is all out of the box. It is available to you if you have those products in your stack, and you can also use them in your project context. So again, let me now go back to my slides, to discuss what is further possible, going forward from here. So let me show my slides again. Yeah, okay, so I can share it. Perfect. So we have seen the demo. Now let's look at the very important question here. So now, why should I go for dashboard? What is the benefit? There are a lot of things which is already available into the UI3. Why to go for it? So the key advantage is what I could think of is this. It is like a mobile app concept. So you have the basic framework available. On top of that, you have a lot of apps which you can add. So you have the independent of the framework deployment. So your apps are deployed independent of your framework. So you are isolating your piece of the view and your customization or configuration and specific apps. So that makes the life easier to manage and maintain. It is a plug and play. You get the web apps developed in by your team, you deploy it, and then if you have the web services design on backend side, it can easily work. So then going forward, it could be buy and deploy kind of concept can also easily come, and where you can buy the widgets, you can deploy it, and it works with with the minimum configuration and changes. Also, you will have the personalized view for each user and role. As we have seen, there are a lot of different apps for the Delmia and the Katia. It is meant for a specific job or operation. So you can directly get into the context. You do your job with the best of the user interface, whatever is needed for a given function, and then you come out. That makes life easy and quite focused for end user. Third big benefit which I can think of is 3D experience upgrades or FD deployment will become easier and easier, because your private widgets are not affected by the upgrades. So as far as you are not touching the OOTB widgets, you are or customizing the OOTB widgets, your private widgets or the new widgets you are designing for your specific needs will be the separate deployment. So it is not going to intersect anywhere. So the new FD applications and the upgrades will be easier. Apart from that, shareability features, which is a built-in, and you can share the dashboard to your team and project. Your customer can pull information from the entire 3DEX platform, plus the external sources as well. Based on the latest web technologies, it is easier access to the data, mobile-friendly UI. So as well, so you can see the things into the mobile as well. If you have the URL accessible, so it is a mobile responsive UI as well. So these are some benefits which I can think of. for the 3D dashboard, and this is the future again. Like, Dassault system is investing a lot on this area to move the most of the user interface towards this line. That's how we can see from the way more and more apps are coming, which is specific to the function. So that's where all the new customers are focusing as well. So what's the next? What's next for you? How you can take this knowledge to your practical users. So from my point of view, identify the OOTB widgets available, for widgets available in your stack. Configure them for your users. Map to your organization roles so that you can specific roles can see the specific widgets. Create dashboards and map them to the leaders so that they can own those dashboards and keep it configured, and share those dashboards to the larger team. And in this journey, if you need any help, in terms of using the OOTB widgets, mapping to your business processes or the requirements, please, we can always help. Our services team can definitely help on configuring it for you, and consulting as well, and giving the guidance how to take the maximum benefit of the OOTB widgets. So you can reach out to us at marketing@steepgraph.com, and we should be able to help you forward on that. So going forward, today we talked about the out-of-the-box widgets. After 4 weeks, we have another webinar on 13th November. There we are going to talk on customized widgets, or altogether newly created widgets. So in this next webinar, we have created several new widgets which are not in out of the box, but by adding a lot of creativity for different functions, for different charts, what all things you can do by customization. So those more details we will talk in the next webinar. So for now, I would like all of you to invite for any questions. So you can type in your questions in the chat window or in the question and answer, and we should be able to answer your questions. So let me look at some questions. So I can see. Okay, so I see some questions like, can you comment on how to build a custom dashboards? So yeah, so defining a dashboard as a custom dashboard, that is the easy step. I already explained in my webinar that you go to the dashboard app, you add a new dashboard, and then it is a placeholder for the new widgets. So it is your custom dashboard, but you are putting your widgets onto that. So now if your question is different than dashboard, if your question is whether how to build a custom widgets, then we have shared one slide here on this webinar that you need to have the skills on the JavaScript, HTML, web services, and related technologies. And apart from that, there are some specific patterns you need to follow to create a new widget. So this is not the focal area for today's webinar, but that is something which we can touch base a little bit, in the next webinar again. So there are further questions. Let me look at questions. Okay, any more questions? Let me look at it in the chat window if I have. All right, so yeah, I see some question here that is it a good idea to customize OOTB widget? There's another question as well. Can the OOTB custom can be shared with the supplier? So okay, so there are 2 different questions. So is it a good idea to customize the OOTB widgets? I would say probably not, because if you are modifying the OOTB widgets, that will make a challenge for you when you go for the upgrade or the FT deployment as well. So at that time, you will have to merge your piece of the code with new changes coming from the new version of the product. So instead of that, you can create always your own widgets in the separate deployment. It is a separate deployment in your Tomcat, so it works independently. So there is another question. Can I add one more column into the OOTB widgets? As I mentioned before, you cannot each tables what you see in the widget is static, and like it is specific to that widget on the client side. It is not coming from the server, so there is no table in background. You cannot add additional column by just configuration. If you want to add additional column, you have to modify JavaScript and add the additional column. But again, I don't suggest to modify the out-of-the-box widgets. It's better to create your own, and so that you can own it and manage it. There is another question. Can the OOTB custom can be shared with the suppliers? Do we need any access of any sort? Well, as far as your supplier has access to your Innovia or 3DEXPERIENCE platform, they can access it, they can see it. But 3DDashboard can be opened in the context of 3DEXPERIENCE only. So login is the prerequisite. It cannot be visible outside of the context. So as far as your supplier has access, he has a login credentials. Then he is a user on your system, and you can share it, right? So there is another question. Does the OOTB come with any web services which can be used in the matrices reader? Let me ask my colleague. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it myself. There are there are any web services which are already designed in the OOTB which are mapped to this matrices reader. But it should be pretty simple, because this matrix reader kind of app takes very simple JSON file. As far as you can write a small JPO which is returning a basic JSON, you should be able to map it here as well. That shouldn't be a big deal. But I haven't seen such example in the OOTB. So that's why I use my local file. All right. So any further question? So thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for your time today. It was a pleasure presenting about the 3Dashboard capabilities. So at SteepGraph, we have been working a lot and developing a lot of expertise around the 3Dashboard and the widgets, creating a lot of widgets which are configurable, can be mapped with the different data sources, different types, and we are trying to make the things more and more autonomous for the customer. So if you are interested to know more about the 3Dashboard capabilities and how we can help you, please reach out to us at marketing@steepgraph.com, and we should be able to help you out on your 3Dashboard 3 widget strategy. Thank you again, and have a great day. Thanks.